There is a place where the lines between right and wrong blur. It exists in the shadows, hidden from public view. This is the world of government secret human experiments. These experiments, often conducted under the guise of national security, represent a chilling breach of trust and a violation of our fundamental human rights. History is littered with examples of such programs. From the Tuskegee syphilis study to the CIA's MKUltra project, the evidence is clear. Governments have repeatedly prioritized their own agendas over the well-being of their citizens. These programs, shrouded in secrecy, have left countless victims in their wake. The ramifications of these experiments extend far beyond the individuals directly affected. They erode public trust in institutions and raise serious questions about government accountability. As we venture further into the 21st century, it is more important than ever to confront this dark chapter of our past and ensure that such atrocities are never repeated. In 1932, the U.S. Public Health Service embarked on a study in Macon County, Alabama. The study's purpose was to observe the natural progression of untreated syphilis in African American men. These men, sharecroppers struggling in the midst of the Great Depression, were promised free medical care. What they received was anything but care. The men were never told they had syphilis. Instead, they were told they were being treated for bad blood, a catch-all term for various ailments. Even when penicillin became the standard treatment for syphilis in the 1940s, the men were denied access to this life-saving drug. The study continued for 40 years, a horrifying testament to medical racism and government overreach. It wasn't until 1972, when a whistleblower brought the study to the attention of the press, that the public outcry forced the government to shut it down. By then, many of the men had died from syphilis or related complications. Countless others had unknowingly infected their wives and partners. The Tuskegee syphilis study remains a chilling example of how easily vulnerable populations can be exploited in the name of science. It serves as a stark reminder of the importance of informed consent and the devastating consequences of medical misconduct. The CIA's MKUltra program, initiated in the 1950s, delved into the murky world of mind control and chemical interrogation. Driven by the Cold War paranoia of communist brainwashing, the CIA sought to develop techniques to manipulate and control human behavior. MKUltra's methods were as varied as they were unethical. The program's researchers experimented with a cocktail of drugs, including LSD, barbiturates, and amphetamines. These substances were often administered to unwitting subjects, including CIA employees, military personnel, and even civilians. The experiments often took place in universities, hospitals, and prisons, adding another layer of deception to the program. Subjects were subjected to sensory deprivation, hypnosis, and electroshock therapy, all in an attempt to break down their personalities and make them more susceptible to suggestion. The full extent of MKUltra's activities remains unknown. In 1973, CIA Director Richard Helms ordered the destruction of most MKUltra records. What we do know paints a disturbing picture of government overreach and a blatant disregard for human rights. MKUltra serves as a chilling reminder of the potential for abuse when unchecked power intersects with the pursuit of scientific knowledge. The dawn of the atomic age brought with it a thirst for knowledge about the effects of radiation on the human body. This thirst, however, led to a series of unethical experiments that exposed unsuspecting individuals to dangerous levels of radiation. From the 1940s to the 1970s, the U.S. government conducted hundreds of radiation experiments on civilians, often without their knowledge or consent. Pregnant women, hospital patients, and even children were among the victims of these experiments. The experiments took many forms. Some involved injecting radioactive materials into the body, others involved exposing individuals to high levels of radiation. The results were often devastating, leading to cancer, birth defects, and other health problems. These experiments were conducted in secret, hidden from public view. It wasn't until the 1990s, when government documents began to surface, that the full extent of these programs came to light. The revelations sparked outrage and led to congressional hearings and investigations. To Section 5. The erosion of informed consent. At the heart of every ethical human experiment lies the principle of informed consent. This principle dictates that individuals have the right to know what is being done to them, the potential risks involved, and the freedom to refuse to participate. Government secret human experiments represent a blatant disregard for this fundamental right. Time and again, individuals were subjected to medical procedures, exposed to dangerous substances, and manipulated psychologically without their knowledge or consent. The justifications for these violations were often shrouded in national security concerns or the pursuit of scientific advancement. However, no amount of national security or scientific progress can justify the violation of an individual's right to bodily autonomy and self-determination. The erosion of informed consent is not merely a matter of legal or ethical debate. It strikes at the very core of our humanity. It reduces individuals to mere test subjects, stripping them of their agency and their right to make choices about their own bodies and minds. Section 6. The Shroud of Secrecy. Secrecy is the lifeblood of government secret human experiments. It allows these programs to operate outside the bounds of ethical and legal scrutiny, shielding those responsible from accountability. These programs thrive in the shadows, hidden from public view by a maze of classified documents, code names, and disinformation campaigns. The very nature of their work makes it difficult, if not impossible, for outsiders to fully grasp the extent of their activities. This lack of transparency fosters an environment ripe for abuse. Without the watchful eye of public scrutiny, there are no checks and balances to prevent ethical lines from being crossed. The government's insistence on secrecy only fuels distrust and suspicion, leading many to question the true motives behind these clandestine programs. Section 7. The Price of Accountability. The pursuit of accountability for government secret human experiments has been a long and arduous journey. The government's instinct to protect its secrets often clashes with the public's right to know. Holding those responsible for these programs accountable is essential, not only for the sake of justice for the victims, but also to prevent such atrocities from happening again. It requires a commitment to transparency, a willingness to declassify documents, and a dedication to uncovering the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. Accountability serves as a deterrent against future abuses. When those in power know that their actions will be scrutinized and that they will be held responsible for their misdeeds, they are less likely to engage in unethical behavior. The pursuit of accountability is not about revenge, it is about ensuring that history does not repeat itself. Section 8. The New Frontier Technology and the Future of Exploitation. As technology advances at an unprecedented rate, so too do the potential avenues for government overreach and human rights abuses. The tools of surveillance, data collection, and genetic manipulation present both incredible opportunities and grave dangers. The same technologies that can be used to improve our lives can also be used to monitor our every move, predict our behavior, and even alter our biology without our knowledge or consent. The line between innovation and exploitation is becoming increasingly blurred. The potential for abuse is vast and largely uncharted. We are entering a new era of human experimentation, one where the lines between the digital, the physical, and the biological are becoming increasingly fluid. It is imperative that we establish ethical guidelines and safeguards to prevent these powerful technologies from being used against us. Section 9. Our duty to remember, our right to know. The legacy of government secret human experiments is a dark stain on our collective conscience. It serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of human rights and the ever-present potential for abuse of power. We have a duty to remember the victims of these programs, to honor their suffering by demanding accountability and fighting to ensure that such atrocities are never repeated. We must learn from the mistakes of the past and remain vigilant in the face of new and emerging threats. Knowledge is our greatest weapon against tyranny. We must continue to demand transparency from our governments, to challenge secrecy, and to exercise our right to know what is being done in our name. Only through vigilance and active engagement can we hope to prevent the horrors of the past from becoming the nightmares of the future.